Okay, my name's Paul Warren. I use the word illustrator rather loosely because my style is quite loose. Um, I'd say I'm a loose illustrator. I'm a loose cannon, maybe a maverick illustrator. That's me.
And my name's Nick Owen. I'm a loose text writer, as would be fair to say as well. So I think our looseness works very well as a kind of collaborative double act, really. And my role in this project is to write the text for the Courting Lives of an Aging Tennis Player, which is the sequel to the Confessions of an Aging Tennis Player, which we published last year and launched, didn't we, Paul, at Nottingham Park Tennis Club.
When I was younger, I used to watch the tennis on the TV, and especially the guys McEnroe, Borg and Nastase. Round about Wimbledon time, my brother Alex and I would play a kind of tennis out on our grandfather's lawn. I would take the role of John McEnroe, and he would enact Jimmy Connors. I would invariably win, as I was 14 and he was 6. It was all to do with our ages, and nothing to do with the fact that I had a proper tennis racket and he had a wobbly piece of cardboard. I knew how to score properly, and he didn't.
We now want to follow this up with the book's sequel, The Courting Lives of an Aging Tennis Player, which follows the dreams and delusions of the book's central character, Lord Andrew John Paul George Ringo Murray of Kirkintilloch. At the end of Confessions, Lord Andrew was about to be arrested for an arson attack on his previous club. But in his mind, he thinks he has won the vote for the club chairmanship and is to be lauded by all before him in the club. His time has come, his victory is total, but not complete. In his mind, his next challenge is to win the next Grand Slam in Australia. So he bids farewell to his club and sets off on his journey over the equator to Melbourne, also known in the real world as Her Majesty's Prison North Sea Camp in Lincolnshire. His desire to win the Australian Open in Melbourne, however, is not as straightforward as he would like. He has an open prison regime to contend with, opponents who don't play by the book, and the ongoing attentions of another champion tennis player, Serena Williams, also known in the real world as Mrs. Evelyn Williams, the secretary of Lord Andrew's previous club, who has taken pity on Lord Andrew, due in no small part to the guilt she feels about her role in banning him from their club in the first place. In his mind, Serena wants to divert him from his challenge of winning the Australian Open. In her mind, Evelyn has other desires. In The Courting Lives of an Aging Tennis Player, our two main characters are brought back together again for another epic tennis final played out in the tennis courts of Melbourne, the magistrates' courts of Liverpool, and eventually the romantic courting wilderness of the East Lincolnshire coastline.
So I'm looking at the text for maybe a key inspirational word that goes along with, that takes the reader with it. This a key word is critical to the way I draw anyway, because I'm very much aware of the fragility of it all, and add to that absurdity and fragility, and you've got my drawings really, or the principle behind them. Life's like that. It's fragile, it's amusing, it's sad, it's happy. I can't find an answer that gets beyond because I enjoy it. There's more to it than that, a lot more. There's something creative burning away inside me. Whether it relates back to teenage years and not going to art college, which I constant sort of regret. My father wanted me to go, but I knew better. And I didn't go, and I didn't have an arts career. And whether or not it's all pent up, I don't know. It might not be that. It might be, it might not. But since when I retired from full-time employment, I've drawn sort of solid, and then, I rented studio space and drew conventionally, painted acrylics and soft pastel and so on. And then the studios where we were used to have an annual event where the studios were open. And one of the other artists, to the public, one of the other artists came into my space with an iPad, took a photograph of a drawing that I'd got on wall for the public to come and have a look at, and there it was, and he started drawing over it, changing it, adapting it, and it was like a eureka moment for me, you know, crikey, I can do that, all I need is an iPad. And I eventually got an iPad a couple of days later, and I've drawn on an iPad ever since, you know, and I just can't get enough of it, really. It's what I do.
Paul and I are planning to build on our successful creative collaboration, develop our audiences, and produce a series of confessions books which simultaneously entertain and provoke audiences around the world. Any support you can offer us to turn our text and images into professionally designed and produced high-quality, full-colour publication would be greatly appreciated by both of us. Whether this be by a donation, pre-ordering the book, or just sharing the campaign would be fabulous. Thanks very much for all your interest. Goodbye.